Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline is where the game starts. We are back with Locked On Gators. Brandon Olson here, as always. Joining me today, Florida Gators women's basketball guard, Zippy Broughton. Zippy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Another day. I'm blessed.
All right, and I'm glad to get this going. Like my listeners know, women's basketball gets coverage pretty much every game here. We're here to talk about. We got a few interviews coming up, and I am determined to get Coach Finley on. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
how it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna will my way to that one. But I want you to walk me through the past year or so because you were at Rutgers for 3 years. You hit the transfer portal, came to Florida, and it was under the previous regime that you came here, and then Coach Rae Finley stepped in as the interim and the season was just insane. I was someone who, after that first 2 weekends, I was like, this team just like, I don't see them going super far. And then I'm going to be honest with you, there's no problem saying that. That NC State game broke my will.
Yeah.
And then that run where you guys just annihilated teams and the top 25 win after win after win was just insane. So what was that season like for you?
Man, it's funny you bring up the NC State game. I feel like, obviously the best of the best teams don't go through that, but because we went through that, it definitely taught us a lot of character. And it made us face ourselves in the mirror like, yo, do we want a repeat of the previous years? So from that game, and then also the loss to George Mason, that definitely kicked us in the behind. And then after that, that's when we just started, improving more and more. And then SEC play came, and we, to the outside, we were a completely different team. But for us, everyone just started to lock in, and we learned how to gel together. Everyone was happy for each other's success, and from there, the success showed on the stat sheets.
Yeah, I hate that you mentioned the George Mason game because I have a friend that works for George Mason, and
Yeah.
I did not hear the end of it. I didn't hear the end of it at all for that one. I was like, yeah, great, thanks. But the biggest change this past season was Coach Rae Finley going from, I mean, she was an assistant, then the interim, and then she dropped that interim title. And just how awesome was that moment, and how awesome is it for Coach Finley to now be the permanent head coach?
Man, it's exciting. She's a huge reason why many of us choose to come to Florida. She's a hell of a recruiter. So with her getting the head coaching job, it was no hesitation for me to choose to stay here another year. It was once I once they said that she was the head coach, I'm like, wow, I don't have to leave again. Like we're all good. So that helped out a lot.
Yeah, and what was it like that final stretch where you had the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament? Just what was that like? Kiki Smith got injured, and unfortunately, and that was the we did it for Kiki post game interview. Just what was that little stretch like for you guys?
Man, it was honestly tough. We lost Kiki, then we lost Jordan, and then we lost Faith. So it was a very tough stretch. But especially with the underclassmen, it gave them a new role. Everyone on the team had a new role. I was the point guard. Many people's minutes went up. The freshmen were expected to play. Um, so after that, everyone saw the potential that this team could have, but we just weren't ready. Um, and in a good way, it exposed us. So we can use that momentum to carry us on to next year. But man, it was tough.
And you just mentioned you becoming the primary ball handler for the team. How important is it for you to be a well-rounded player? Because a lot of people think of you as that shooter because that you weren't the primary ball handler. You were a scorer. You're a playmaker, a proven playmaker at this point. And I feel like not enough people talk about your defense. You're uh, a ball hawking guard there. You've had multiple games with 4 or 5 steals. And just so, how important is it for you to be a well-rounded player?
Man, it's very important. Sometimes I think of it as being a jack of all trades. I'm still finding that thing to be, dominant in. But especially with me being a leader of the team and everyone looking at me, I have to be able to, contribute in different areas. And with them looking at me, I can't just be here someday, not here another day. So I try to stay consistent in everything.
Yeah, you're someone who your role this coming season is going to be magnified at this point. With Kiki Smith is now gone, and she was I would say, like, statistically, I'd say she's like the Russell Westbrook, where she's getting points, rebounds, assists, she's doing everything.
Yeah,
And that role needs to be filled. And you just mentioned you're the jack of all trade. You're kind of the leader here now, so your role is going to be significantly
yeah.
improved. Do you have any specific goals for this upcoming season, whether it's personally or as a team?
Man, personally, I can off the rip say I'm gonna be drafted. It's funny when I first got here, it was one of those things that I kept to myself because I didn't truly believe it, and I was too scared to share that with people. But sometimes you can't allow the fear of others be able to influence what you believe truly. So I can say proudly that I will and I want to be drafted next season. And for team goals, SEC championship for sure. I definitely want to build all my skills in leadership, and building this team up into other leaders. But an SEC championship, man,
All right, and I just got one more question about you on the court.
for sure.
Because I wasn't gonna ask it, and then you posted, I think it was your Instagram story yesterday, where you're like, oh, like when I make that face, that's like my defense is like I'm in another zone, and I want to know, do you talk trash?
I don't, man. I'm actually, I'm actually pretty quiet. I can talk trash for my other teammates, like getting excited for them. But as far as talking, nah, man, I'm pretty silent.
Hmm,
It's
must
all about a look. It's all about a look.
it's just the look in the eyes, just let
It's
just
the
let them
look in
know.
the eyes. My teammates know when I'm in that mode. It's no stopping me.
Hey, sometimes silence is scarier than talking. That's
Oh no, it is.
that's how it is sometimes. But we're gonna shift to kind of an off court conversation here. It's spring break time. It is almost summertime. It is time to get fit. You got vacation coming up. You got to get in shape for it. I know that I got to, and you guys know that I've got a hardcore sweet tooth by this point. And Built Bar helps me out there because Built Bar is coated in 100% chocolate. Most bars have 130 calories and just 4 net carbs, along with 17 grams of protein throughout the hidden stashes, the Reese's in the desk drawer, the Kit Kat in the cupboard, whatever it is. Don't feel guilty. Get Built Bar. Eat it clean, eat it right, make it feel good. They're always coming out with new limited time flavors, so you'll never get bored. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your next order with Built or BuiltBar.com. We're going to go back a little bit. We mentioned that you transferred from Rutgers. What kind of went into your decision to transfer from Rutgers? Because recently we've seen so many people just say ridiculous and ignorant things about the transfer portal,
Yeah,
which is one of the best additions to college sports. And I know that you put your 2 cents in on Twitter last week. So just what went into your decision, and what do you say about people that hate the transfer portal?
man. Honestly, well, in my opinion, people who hate the transfer portal are people who played basketball decades ago. Like, but the transfer portal, allows a lot of us players the opportunity to contribute to programs that we weren't able to before. And when I was at Rutgers, I love Rutgers. Rutgers will always have a special place in my heart, but I can never get it on the court. And it took me to leave to realize that I was always the one holding myself back when in other ways I was blaming, why can't I have this, why can't I have that, when the whole time I had the decision to become better and I was too comfortable. And coming here definitely took me out of my comfort zone, and I was able to take control. And once I seen a new direction of, hey, this is what I need to do to get to the next level, um, you know, everything changed. So I think the transfer portal will, highlight that for a lot of players, and you know get them to be able to be in programs that allow them to be themselves, get them to be in programs that fit their playing style, and especially after all the COVID things, um, you know, coaches weren't able to recruit as much as I was growing up. So the relationships may not be the same. So I think it's a great opportunity. Do I think in some instances kids aren't being patient? Yes. Every situation isn't going to be perfect, but we can't judge anything looking from the outside in.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things with the portal too is you're asking 17-year-olds to commit years of their life to a program, and it's like, well, guess what? 17-year-olds don't always make the right decision for them, so the transfer portal allows you to kind of correct that if you didn't pick the right place. So that's why it's like I'm
Exactly.
for it, and the cream will always rise to the top. So
Yeah, for
whoever
sure.
is there. But a perhaps more important basketball question for you here. And I've had a football player on the show a couple weeks ago, Prince Luman Mealing. I had him here a couple weeks ago, and he answered this question for me. And given that you're a basketball player, I think you should have a solid stance on it. Um, LeBron or Michael Jordan?
You know, I grew up my whole life saying LeBron because I was born in 2000, so I didn't grow up in the Jordan era. But it may sound cliche, but after I watched The Last Dance, I got obsessed and I watched a bunch of Jordan highlights. No one is touching Jordan. No one is touching Jordan, and the next person after that is Kobe. Like, I prefer the question Kobe or Jordan. Like, I love LeBron, but skillful wise, those two are on a whole different planet.
See, now I'm mad I asked the question the way I did because when I asked Princely, I said LeBron, MJ, or Kobe.
Yeah.
Um, but the Gators website has it listed as your favorite athlete, LeBron. So I was like, oh, LeBron or MJ is the conversation. Now I'm mad I didn't mention Kobe in there. But I,
Man,
I,
no,
I'm,
they
I'm
took that. Oh,
no.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was about to say they took that those questions from when I was at Rutgers. Being a 17-year-old, I'm not the same person I was, 4 years ago. So that's old, man.
Oh, all right. Well, now I know what I'm gonna get on them to fix that one. And another thing I do with Princely, and I do with pretty much everybody that I know has tattoos, because I'm from a tattoo family. So I'm curious. Do you? Because you have two tattoos, if I'm not mistaken. You have the forearm and tricep.
One, two, three, four, five.
Oh, five. Okay.
I got five.
Do you have a favorite one or one that's like most significant to you?
Hmm. I'd probably say the one I just recently got. Probably because it's new, which is why I like it the most. But I have tattoos on my forearm that says "Walk in Paradise." Yeah, I'd probably say that's my favorite right now.
I say I can't answer the favorite. I have one, so it's like, oh, like I can't pick anything else.
Hey, how you come from a tattoo family with one, man?
I only got it a few years ago. Like my family was like, we've had tattoos since we were like 16, and I'm like, I don't. You they have tattoos that I don't want to be like. Yeah, no, I totally aspire for that one. Like mine. So I went to Toledo for college. So I have the Toledo logo tattooed on me
Oh
because
wow.
I was like, it's an important time in my life as like to develop. And they were like, that's a dumb tattoo, and I was like, you have a giant skull with roses across your entire thigh. Don't tell me it's a dumb thing too. And
Man.
I just have one more question for you here. It's not even really a question. It's just I want you to list your top five musicians because I know that even the other day you posted you were like, hey, like if you're playing the aux, don't play radio music here. We're here for underground, and I know that the Gators site, whether it's from Rutgers or not, has you listed as a Beyonce and J. Cole fan. So I want to know your top five
Oh.
musicians. Oh,
So top five. Mac Miller off rip, always top. That's always my go-to. Mac Miller. I'll probably say right now, Kanye. Drake. Oh man,
I also got to ask, old Kanye or new Kanye?
both man.
Okay.
I used to fall in that category and just listen to people say that old Kanye was better. No way. He's continued to evolve. He stays hip to the generation. So nah, it's hard to even choose. Yeah, I'll give you a top three. Those are my top three
Okay,
right
all
now.
right. I'm cool with the top three. I'm glad I got
Yeah.
that. I am a little upset that J. Cole's not in there though.
Oh, he will always be a top. I haven't he hasn't been in my go to lately, but he will always be one of my favorite rappers.
Okay, all
So
right. Because
I'll say J Cole four.
I like Cole, so I'll say
Yeah.
that. Um, All right. Thank you so much, Zippy. Make sure to catch her on the basketball court this season for the Florida Gators, leading the Florida Gators. Zippy Broughton. You can find her on Instagram at Zippy the Hippie. And you can find her on the court. Hey, I'll give it the shout. And you can find her on the court this season winning the SEC championship.